Album review. Today's album is Post Malone's Hollywood's Bleeding. Today we're joined by Aidan,
Melons.
myself, Denver, and Joe,
Hello.
and Will.
Hello. So obviously this week it was my pick, and much to Aidan and Joe's dislike, which I'm surprised it was Joe's dislike because he picked him last time and he was raving about him. So
Yeah.
why was he just not in the mood?
I don't know. I always forget why I listen to Post Malone until I listen to him.
Oh, okay. That's
It's a bit
that
weird.
sounds positive.
You forget why you listen to him until you listen to it,
It's like you come away from it
and you think you
and
dislike
then you're like, and then you're just never in the mood for it until you listen to it. And then when you listen to it, you're like, oh, okay, it's this. I remember this.
it. Right, got you.
It's like
You know?
Rocket League.
I understand.
It is like Rocket League. Why were you into it the other day?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
I'll play again.
Rocket League would play again. Great review there.
Slap it on. Slap it on
We
the
should maybe
case.
start game review after this.
Do people still buy hard cases?
I haven't bought one for years.
Nah.
Me neither.
I think Uncharted 4 was the last one I bought. No, that's a lie. God of War. Sorry, continue.
Okay, thanks.
Fascinating. So I'm just going to go through this album because I think it's fantastic. Starting off with the actual name of the album, Hollywood's Bleeding. I think it's such a start to the album. Like it's got like the Metallica-esque like riff at the start, and then how it just switches into like an R&B song. To me, that's just like I think that's kind of the reason I just kind of love Post Malone because he has so many different like influences, and he kind of manages to put them together and they work. I don't know. I just think it's like such an ace start to the album. And then Saint Tropez. First, I wasn't like a fan of the song when it first came out. I thought it was a bit annoying. And then, which is surprising for me because usually any Post Malone song I'm just always all over. But Saint Tropez, I thought it was a bit, just like I say, just a bit annoying. And he always seems to have one song on the album that's a flex song. It's obviously a flex song.
That's just like every rapper ever, though, isn't it?
He's not a rapper. I hate it when people
Let's
say
check
that.
the-
Does
He's
say
not a rapper.
SoundCloud rapper.
How is he
Hip
not a
hop
rapper?
rap
I'm a rapper.
is the
I
criteria.
don't understand that.
What
But-
how can you not understand?
Because he sings. There is.
Does he?
Yeah.
Ah.
Hold on. I've just typed in Post Malone and it comes up with Post in Google and it says Post Malone American rapper.
Exactly.
That's-
Google
that's-
doesn't
Yeah,
lie.
but-
That-
Oh, God,
I mean,
don't get
they
it.
they only call him a rapper because like being homeless isn't a music genre.
he literally
For
just typed in the
fuck's sake.
No, the
words Post
other one is
Malone and
singer-songwriter.
rapper.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's what that said,
Although
Sheeran, and he was homeless.
Well, isn't that like everyone who makes music ever though?
No, not necessarily. It's like Katy Perry and stuff. She didn't write most of the songs that she performs.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
She is a singer, but definitely not a songwriter.
I guess so.
Nah, that's very true.
Big brain.
Where was I? Yeah,
Well, I mean, what
Saint
you were going to
Tropez.
do Will, was your worst song. Remember? Do
I'm not doing that just yet.
you remember the structure of album review?
Yeah, I know how it
He's
works.
changed it up. He's
Okay.
going for each song.
But I'm just going to talk about the album for a bit before I do that, if that's all right. I'm not
All
going
right,
through
but-
every song.
I'm
just
sorry, I
gonna
don't,
talk
I don't
about
have
some,
like 4 hours to give you, Will. Come on.
No,
This album's long.
this isn't. I wasn't gonna.
I'm joking.
Come on,
I
keep
feel
going.
bad
Keep
now.
going. Come on.
So yeah, Saint Tropez is good, and it grew on me. To me, like every song on the album is really different to each other. Like someone who dislikes Post Malone might disagree, but I think every song has got like its own.
I would agree.
It's very much holds its own, and it's very different from one another. Like even like Allergic, like that's such a random. To me, he's not done a song like that ever. It's so weird, but I love
I
it.
love
for that. Yeah, I don't think it's got a sick drum beat. Do you know, like you said in the last thing, Aidan, that like Mayday Parade album is just like liquid joy for you. I just feel the same about any Post Malone album. I'm like always happy listening to it. I don't know. I just love it. Well, I love the man. So I'm just gonna now go on to my worst song.
Wait, didn't even
Just
go
like
through.
that.
You got to allergic, and that was about it. I don't know if I...
Well, I feel
Well,
bad because
Will?
I feel like I'm just gonna end up going through every song because I just love it.
Yeah, but
have you got
people
a
have
note on
heard
every
your
song?
in-depth opinions on the first two.
That's true.
No, I don't. No, it's fine. You could go to your worst.
I'll go to it and then I'll mention like the honourable mentions at the.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone brings any of them up, you can pipe in your
Yeah, you can
opinion.
pipe
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. So the worst for me was On the Road. The thing is, I really like Posty's bit in it, but I don't like either of the rappers in it, and that's literally the only reason that I don't like that song.
You see, I had the opposite effect.
Okay.
I really liked the rappers and all the side featured artist ones. But one thing that I did think about On the Road is it sounded like a Macklemore song.
You
Would you
reckon?
agree? Yeah, you remember "Put Your Hands Up Like the Ceiling Can't Hold." You remember that song? It
Yeah.
reminded me of that.
I literally, in my notes, put dislike other artist, Posty carries it. To that
What,
song.
that On the Road
Yeah.
song? He definitely does.
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember it at all. I feel like it didn't make an impact on me whatsoever.
I think, well, I don't know. I think similar
everyone
to
else was throwing
it
their
definitely
opinions in the
carries
ring.
that song. Yeah, but you just hate everything, don't you, on this album?
No, I just hate everything. Full stop.
That's it.
Unless it's Mayday Parade.
I love Mayday Parade. Hate babies though. They're useless.
Useless. They can't even do basic
They
math.
They can't do basic math. Pay for your fucking mortgage, you piece of shit. Get a job.
No.
What a dick.
The thing is, they are useless. If you leave a baby on the floor,
They just die.
they'll just die. That's it. They don't do anything. They've got no self-preservation.
It makes you wonder, like, how we, as a human race, are human and
It's
alive.
Like horses and stuff. They come out of the womb and they're just like fucking just strolling about, just walking.
Like, there must like when we were first born as humans, like
sorry.
billions of years ago.
You mean when God went like that and then we appeared?
There must have been super babies, because like
No, that's not how evolution works.
Because otherwise we'd still have super babies, Joe.
Like, I'm imagining like Sylvester Stallone, but as like a baby. Like,
They're also like monkeys.
He comes out fucking ripped. Adrian,
It's not like one day an ape gave birth to a human as is today. Like...
Yeah, but you say like evolution. How did we become so stupid as babies? Because we must have been somewhat smart.
No,
as babies.
they're not. No, they're not. Babies they've always been useless.
They've always had to been looked after by
then
their
how have we
parents.
survived?
By being looked
Yeah,
after.
but then how did their parents survive?
By being looked after by their parents.
Yeah, but then you see the loop here.
Yeah, but
I get Joe's
what
point.
are you suggesting?
yeah, but then if you keep going back, it goes back to bacteria and cells.
Yeah, and what became first, the chicken or the egg?
Nah, there must be something between that point.
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
it was Jesus.
Speaking of Jesus, Post Malone.
Oh god.
Christ.
Hang on,
So I'm gonna do some honourable
wait,
mentions.
wait. Post Malone, how is he Jesus?
We already
I
established.
mean, did you not see him with his hair when he?
Right, okay. You meant
he,
he looked like Jesus and wasn't.
he's just a
some form of-
tatted Jesus.
See,
He's
I
the
thought you were going to
messenger.
make some sort of thing about him being like a savior
He is a savior.
and that he'll die for our sins or some
He
shit like
will
that.
die for us.
He'll die at 26.
At 27.
It's 27.
Is that it? 26. What's the?
I think it's the 27 club, is it?
It is the 27 club, yeah.
He'll die at 27. I mean, he's already on the way. He's already fallen over on stage and shit.
No, he's on the road.
I mean, he's on the ropes, is what he is.
No, but I thought you were going to go down the lines of he's like Jesus because he has the like thorns in his head, tattooed.
Oh.
Oh my word!
I thought you were going to go with he's Jesus because I've seen him down a bottle of wine.
I've seen him down a lot of wine. To be fair,
Is that what Jesus
in
did?
person.
But,
Pretty
but
sure
we
that's
know
what
he's
he
not
did.
Jesus because, as we previously established, he's little Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he is multiple people now.
If you read the Bible backwards, it's just a guy going around giving life-threatening illnesses to people. He looks
That works right now. To be
He
fair,
looks like a perfectly normal guy, and then he's like, "Boom! Now you're blind." It looks at this man on the floor that's like, I'm alive. He just touches him. He's like, leprosy.
Oh my god.
Man.
That's amazing.
And then he takes everyone's
Oh,
food
for
and
fuck's
puts it
sake.
in a basket.
Oh my god.
He just, you know, the feeding of the 5,000 where he gets like a bit of bread and a bit of fish and feeds everyone. He just takes everyone's food and he's just like, this is mine.
And somehow compiles it back into just one loaf of
He
bread.
puts it in one loaf of bread. I really like that. Sorry.
What the fuck?
I just like the idea of Jesus robbing people's food.
It's like, mine, mine, mine.
And then he died. And then he died in a manger surrounded by people.
What, so you're saying the start is him ripping the nails off the cross, like scaring people off?
No, the start is him going to sleep in a cave and waking up on a cross.
Ah, you're right. Moving on.
And the nice Romans help him down.
What nice guy.
Nice Romans help him down. That's amazing.
The lovely Romans. They freed him. That's how it started.
Exactly. They're like, oh, how'd you get up there?
Oh, so he's a Roman spy. They sent him out to steal everyone's food and make everybody horribly sick.
Exactly.
So, honourable mentions?
One thing I'll say
Mhm.
is I think all the collaborators have been like really good on this album, other than that song On the Road. I think like Halsey's like sounds really good with him, and Scissor, I think that's a great song. I think all of them kind of worked with him quite well. I just couldn't get with that On the Road song.
I thought Halsey was a woman.
She is.
She is.
Oh my god, is that
We
the...
literally did her fucking album, Joe.
We did her album.
Oh
Wow.
I'm an idiot.
What the
I
fuck?
don't even know how to follow that. That's pretty good.
Can I make a prediction for what I think your top 3 is going to be? This could be completely
Oh, okay.
wrong. Right?
Well, if it's wrong, you can just cut it.
Exactly.
Okay,
I think
go ahead.
number 1, Sunflower. Number 2,
Okay.
Circles. And
Okay.
number 3, Take What You Want.
Okay.
I could be
That's
completely
interesting.
wrong. But there we go.
Well, I'll tell you my third.
Okay.
It's Take What You Want.
Shit, I got one!
Ooh.
So that song is such a fucking kick-ass song. Like that was a song when I saw it was on the album, I was the most buzzing about because I fucking love Ozzy Osbourne and I listened to him quite a lot growing up with Dad. And I just think it's such a weird collaboration. And fucking Travis Scott with Ozzy Osbourne as well. It's mental. Because Travis Scott, I even think like his part works. This is what I mean about him, like bringing just like different genres together and it working. Like it's like an R&B song with like guitar solos and just it. I fucking love that
did
song.
like
It's
that
so
song.
it's so amazing. I just said so ass, didn't I?
It's so ass.
So ass. No, it's awesome. I fucking love it. The fucking guitar solo at the end is sick as well.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Do you not think it is?
No.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although I put that it does sound like they've auto-tuned Ozzy because he sounds like he's dying.
That's how he sounds all
I
the
know,
time.
but he does sound like a dying man. Like
He does look like a dying man. To be honest.
He is not well.
Wasn't
No.
there a thing about when everyone was like, "Oh my god, this Post Malone guy's brought this like Ozzy Osbourne to fame."
yes, we have made reference
Yeah.
to this as well. Yeah.
I think we've mentioned it about 4 times on the podcast.
think-
We also mentioned it in the
I
last
just,
episode.
I just like that. I like that. I did read a comment that was this chav saying that, and I quote, "Oh, Post just put this Aussie guy on the map," and
Yeah.
like, it was just the worst thing I've ever read.
To be fair though, like if it wasn't for like Guitar Hero 3, I don't think I'd know who Ozzy Osbourne was either.
What?
I mean, that's fair.
Because like
I know
the
him from
Osbournes
Guitar
aren't
Hero.
real. Unless you watched what do you call it? Like X Factor
You
when
s-
Sharon was in it.
Or living
Yeah.
with the Osbournes.
Yeah, or
whatever
the
fuck.
reality
Yeah, Living with
show.
the Osbournes was a massive show.
Yeah, but it's not now. Like if you were, it was a massive show in the early 2000s.
Now, yeah, to be fair.
Like, so I could understand how you could have not heard of him.
Yeah, I guess so, actually. So I'll tell you my second.
Yeah.
It's Sunflower.
Oh.
So this is the switch up.
Oh shit! So I almost got it right.
You very
Oh,
nearly got
that's
it
pretty.
right.
I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I was just. The thing is, I don't listen to this song as much now, but when it was like came out like ages ago now, didn't it?
Yeah.
Sunflower. And I think it wasn't even. I think it might have been.
It came out for Spider-Man,
No.
didn't it?
Yeah, which wasn't last year, was it? Was it last year? It came out quite a bit before that was even released. But I remember that because he debuted it on Jimmy Fallon's show, and he just showed like a quick 10-second clip, and I remember being like so buzzing because it was like the first song he'd released kind of since.
Like in 2018, sorry.
Yeah, I thought so. Like it was ages ago. And I think that was my most listened to song on Spotify that year when that came out. I fucking love that song. It just like brings so many memories and stuff. I think it's ace. And while I don't listen to it as much now because I listen to it so much, I think it still very much holds its own. It's a great song. I can see why it did so well. But number one, by a long way, is Circles. I think it's probably my favourite Post Malone song of all time. I think it's fucking amazing. The bass line and the drum beat are sick. It's so chill. I think it's just awesome. I love it. It's actually up there probably now with being one of my favourite songs of all time in general. I just think it's fucking ace.
It is great. You see, I can't believe how close I was really to guess it. Considering how
Yeah,
many
you were
songs.
super close.
But I was like, maybe he's heard Circles too much, and for that reason he's gonna mix it up and put Sunflower in there.
See, I thought I might have heard it too much because the thing is, like, I'd stopped listening to it for a while, but then it was my most listened to song last year, but I've started to listen to it loads again. Like, it's just not getting old for me.
It's great.
Which I just fucking love it. It's so chilled out. It's probably up there with "Wake Me Up When September Ends" by Green Day for being like my favorite song. I fucking love it. And yet there's not really like loads to it, is there? It's just like a pretty simple song.
Sometimes they are the best though.
Exactly. I fucking love it. I love that the music video is based on like Skyrim as well. If you didn't know that, it's fucking awesome.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the music video to be honest. So
he just walks around as a knight.
I knew that.
Me.
Post
Honourable
Malone
mentions.
super fan.
Carl Fairbairn.
Carl alone. Just me.
No help.
Honourable mentions. The one that was very close to being third, is a bit of a surprise, is Myself. I think it's such a song. Like the vocals in it, especially at the end, are so good, and it's just like a happy song.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like I think it's just right before the end. I don't know. It's proper upbeat and nice.
So, what song was that, Will?
Myself.
Oh yes.
Goodbyes is another amazing song. Although I wasn't like buzzing about that when that came out. I was a bit like disappointed, but that's grown on me big time. A bit of fact for you. Do you know the song Internet he actually wrote with Kanye? And Kanye was in the original for that. And you can actually find it on YouTube.
Oh, that explains why it's awful.
But so I don't know why he wasn't in it for this album. But
Probably wanted a commission or some shit, being Kanye.
I want 90%. What, Kanye? That's ridiculous. 90.
90. But you're only on one of 17. No, I want 90%.
I want 90. Wait a minute. That sounds good. 90. I'm writing the song.
but it's a bit of a random song.
I I hate him. Fucking Kanye sucks.
Post Malone's in one of Kanye's song in that
brilliant.
Pablo album.
Oh God.
I can't remember which one it is because he doesn't even name Post Malone as a credit on it either.
Wow,
It's
don't
probably
worry,
because he cut him out of internet. It's like a little bit of a beef they have going on.
It was the other Kanye was before, so
No, it's beef.
maybe Post has done it.
who knows?
Um,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe someone might be picking the Pablo album soon.
Imagine. Oh, it'd be a right curveball if Aidan goes, I hate Kanye.
That would be
but I
hilarious.
picked Kanye.
What else? I don't think that I've got
Nothing
oh,
else.
Yeah,
Well, you're good now.
Wow.
No.
It's been like 20 minutes now. Well.
It's wow.
Fucking come
Yeah,
on.
but you do keep like having these random things through my review. So wow,
Wrap it
is
up.
Another honorable mention.
Wrap it up.
I remember it came out Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Oh,
I
God.
fucking love that. Do you know what? Go fuck yourself. I love Post Malone, but I fucking hate you.
Oh, God.
Go on.
Fucking hell.
Who is it? Joe, is it?
Hello. Is it my turn?
It is your turn, Joseph.
That took a while, didn't it?
That's fine. We're only 40 minutes in.
So I remember I listened to this album when it first came out, and I thought, meh. And now I've listened to it again, and I'm like, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good, in fact. My new favorite Post Malone album, actually. Yeah, I think listening to this album while making scones seems to be heavily good for the album, as in I liked it more while making food. It's like kind of one of those things where you just have it. I feel like this album in particular is just good for having it on in the background while you're doing something. It like keeps your energy going.
To me, it's quite a happy album. There's no real sad...
It's quite a happy album. Yeah.
I think the only sad one is like Goodbyes, probably. Other than that, they're all quite upbeat. Maybe I don't know.
I'd agree with
I
that.
feel like his voice has definitely got better from his previous albums. There's like, even though there's still like auto-tune on his voice in some things, like he's just using it more and exerting himself more, which I think is pretty good. I think all the backing of all the tracks was a lot better. There's a lot more guitar-y stuff. I just prefer it to his. It wasn't all just pure rap and R&B. If that makes sense.
No.
My least favorite was Take What You Want, because the guitar solo was a no-no. I didn't like it.
Not enough top string for you.
I don't think any of it. I didn't like Ozzy Osbourne in it. I didn't like Post Malone in it. I didn't like Travis Scott in it. I didn't like the guitar in it. I didn't like the melody. Didn't really like anything about it, to be honest. I would listen to it if I was forced to. Not like, oh my god, it's terrible, I won't listen to it. But I just didn't like it. And top 3. Third is Wow.
Wow.
That was a good song. 1,000 Bad Times. No, I'm joking. It is Wow. Great song. One of the first I listened to. I think it was one of the one he released as singles. Weirdly, my top 3 are the ones that I thought I would pick top 3 before going into the album, because I was like thinking, oh, maybe I'll hear some songs that I haven't heard that much before, and that will overtake it, because that's usually the case if you've heard something before. But in this case, it was just all the ones I'd heard before. So I don't know whether maybe if I carry on listening to it, that might change. I don't know. But Wow was kind of more of like the badass kind of rap song. I thought it was quite good. Kind of gets you in a good mood, gets you pumped. You know, go to the gym. Can't do that.
Fuck.
Coronavirus is
Can't
about.
do that yet.
No.
Hang on, you didn't go before then.
Yeah.
You didn't go before
hang on a minute.
coronavirus.
No, I went every week. I'm ripped.
True.
Anyway, I tell you what though, I am doing press ups I'm going to do press ups.
Yeah, we are.
Press up.
While this is all going on, because I feel like my belly is becoming like a chocolate fountain. It's like oozing out
It's
my
exploded.
belly.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And you think the answer to that is press
No,
up?
ab crunches.
Yeah, because it gets your
It sounds
core.
like no. It sounds like you need to go to the hospital, Joe.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I've heard A&E is pretty free these days.
Second favorite, circles.
What?
Wasn't my first favorite.
I honestly thought that was going to be everyone's first favorite.
However, I think these top two are interchangeable.
He picked it because he was hoping
Change it now.
he would be the one
Do it.
that like doesn't pick that one.
No, it's just what I felt like at the time. I feel like I could quite happily swap these about, but unfortunately, Sunflower just does remind me of Spider-Man a bit more.
I feel like Joe does this on purpose several times now. Like we all pick the same favorite, apart from Joe.
There's only been one other person say their favorite.
Yeah, but we all know that Circles is the best.
I see. I feel like I'm definitely the
Because when I'm just
the
looking
odd
back
one
at
out.
Clarity now and how everyone picked Clarity except you.
yeah issues. You know,
That's
everyone picked. I picked Coma, didn't I, instead of Hero?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
I
just
think-
you being wrong.
but anyway, that's just look. I'm entitled to my
So
opinion.
Sunflower was
Yeah,
number
but your
one.
opinion's wrong.
Sunflower is number one. It's so chill. I love everything about it. I love the synth work in it. I just like it as a sound engineer. The production was fantastic.
He's bringing that people.
Sway Lee's quite good in it as
But-
well.
Because of how good this album was.
I think I
It
prefer
was a
Harry
hard
Styles'. Sorry, I've just full on interrupted you
It's
there.
okay. Yeah, you did, yeah.
A bit rude,
prick.
that, to be
It
honest.
was.
Yeah. Because this album was so good, it was a really hard top three to pick. Why are you laughing? Meaning there was a lot of honourable mentions that I would like to quickly go through.
Don't know about that.
1,000 Bad Times could have quite easily made it in there.
Great.
I thought, yeah, it's a great song. He just sings all the way through it, and it is wicked. Second honourable mention, I thought was going to be my favourite for a while, and that's Hollywood's Bleeding. Issue I have with that song is the R&B section. I love it up until the R&B section, and then it's still good, but I'm like, oh, it could have just been like that nice acoustic thing all the way through, and it would have been fine.
See, I felt the opposite about that. I
yeah?
preferred the sort of the breakdown bit of it. Until then, I found that I
Really?
did not really like Hollywood's Bleeding.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. I just loved, like, I think all these songs are like, all the vocal hooks are just so much more catchy than any of the other stuff that he's done. Like, for a few exceptions, but like the albums in general that he's done, I feel like these are just a lot more catchy than the stuff that he's done in the past. And then my last honorable mention is I'm Gonna Be. I thought that was wicked as well. That's my album review.
I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Very happy with that.
Good. I'm happy that you're happy.
Thank you.
The idea isn't to please your
Never.
friend review. God. Bloody hell.
No, but when you it's an album you're passionate about, it hurts
like-
when people don't like it.
It's like every metal album I pick.
It's like,
If I wanted to please my friend, I'd be wanking him off, wouldn't I?
Maybe later, Aidan.
What?
What?
We can't.
It's alright, I'll put a gas
Coronavirus.
mask on.
What?
How's that going to help me?
Not get your coronavirus off me.
You've got it.
No, but you might have it.
Don't gas
know.
masks stop gas? Not.
If I can stop a gas, you can stop a corona. It's well known.
Then you can fix an AC-130 gunship.
Would you steal a car?
You wouldn't push a dwarf off a log. Pirating is stealing.
So,
Arr.
this album, easily the best Post Malone album.
Oh.
It's like all Post Malone albums, I feel like the first time you listen to them, This was one of the rare exceptions where like Circles did stick out, obviously, like from the first listen. But like I found with all previous Post Malone albums, like the first, it takes like a couple of listens, but then it like you kind of get into it. Like I really liked this album, just because I was going through it and I didn't find there was any, well, not really many songs I disliked, because even the ones I've classed as like the worst ones had good elements in there. It was just the weakest of them. Yeah, I also really liked the fact that even though there was a lot of songs in the album, they're all quite short, which I think helps the whole like that they sound different thing, because he can do like so many of these songs are like 2 minutes long, or like 2 minutes 30 long. So it means it doesn't make even though the album is long, it doesn't feel long because the type of song changes up so frequently. Because there was only like 2 like kind of normalish length songs I'd say in there, which were like Die For Me and Take What You Want. Those were like in the high 3 minutes. Everything else,
I have a note here that just says that like the album felt longer, and I guess I'm the only one that felt that way.
Really?
Yeah, because it constantly kept changing it up. It felt like it rattled through it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
However, I do feel like the biggest disappointments of the album is the start and the end. I feel like those are both like weak songs.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I've heard too much. I thought Wow was okay, but it felt a bit soft. Like it didn't feel. Like I feel like Goodbyes should have been the final song, and that would have been better.
Oh, for God's sake! Is that literally because it's Goodbye?
Literally that, and it was a much better song than Wow. Whereas Wow feels like it was kind of odd to be at the end. I mean, other than the fact that it has a full stop in the title.
I mean, I don't feel like there was a definite like finisher and starter song, to be honest. It's just a bunch of songs type of thing.
Yeah, but I feel like Hollywood's Bleeding did feel like a starting song, but I did feel it was also, until the latter part of that song, I felt like it was a bit weak. Because I nearly put it as one of my least favourites, and it wasn't until I kept hearing the end of the song, and towards the end of the song I was like, oh, actually, no, I do quite like that one. But like as soon as it started, every time I was like, oh, this is the worst song. But in the end, I thought the worst song was I'm Gonna Be, because it was so repetitive and boring. And then top 3, there was quite a few that could have gone in here, but this album surprised me in that I went in having 3 songs in my head that I was gonna pick for top 3, and only one of those actually ended in the top 3.
Oh really? Shit.
So listening to it again, definitely changed my mind. So third favorite, 1,000 Bad Times. Man, I love that song. Great song. I should have probably done my own relations first, but I'll actually do it.
It was I think that was like the most normal song.
Yeah, it was like
the most vanilla.
It was just it felt like a really nice beat. It was always nice and upbeat, and even though it was sort of talking about 1,000 bad times, I guess, I really enjoyed it. Second, Circles.
Oh,
I feel like this has been hurt by hearing it so much. I still do love it, but there was another song that, because it was like fresher and newer, that stuck out. That another song that came on every time. I fucking loved it, and that was Myself.
Can I predict it?
Oh, sorry. Were you going to say
God
Myself?
Damn it! No, I wasn't. I was going to say Staring at the Sun. I thought.
No, Staring at the Sun, definitely an honourable mention. Really like that. I'd never heard of the SZA, whoever that is.
SZA.
But that was.
She did a lot of the Black Panther songs.
Right. I really did enjoy that one. But yeah, Myself. Holy shit. That did not stick out in the previous, because I'd heard this album I think once or twice before we did this review, before we did album review rather, like before you picked it. Sorry, but yeah, Myself. Holy shit, I love that song so much. Like I could listen to that and repeat all day. And then yeah, 1,000. Oh, that was in my top 3. Die For Me was also pretty good with Halsey, but I didn't. I thought like Future ruined the song, so it wasn't in my top 3 because of that. Like I feel like if it was just Post and then Halsey's bit, it would have been better. Take What You Want, again, really good. That could have been in the top 3.
Really? I don't know why that song didn't click with me. Like
I
I
really
think
like that song.
I think it did when it first came out. I remember liking it and showing my dad, but I don't know. It just seems a bit cringy.
And I didn't like Travis Scott's bit in it, but that's just because I don't really like Travis Scott. And then Goodbyes, really good song. So again, so there's a good like 7 songs in there that were like really good in my opinion. But I tell you what, Internet I wanted to have as my least favorite because of fucking Kanye, but it actually wasn't that bad. But it was definitely
good.
equal, like almost my worst. But I feel like that's because I went into it loaded, knowing that Kanye like worked on it.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that
Oh, I didn't know.
because I'd watched that
Okay.
interview that you asked me to watch.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Um,
the Apple one.
yeah. But yeah,
That's
so
a good one.
overall, definitely the best Post album. Really enjoyed listening to it. So it was easy to. It was easy just to stick on for another listen. Like I didn't feel like I had to sludge through it to get my 3 listens in. I probably listened to it to 6, 7 times easily. So
I fucking love this. Get in. I honestly thought because like we've spoke about this album before, and because you said you'd only listened to it a bit, you weren't like that buzzing about it.
but I feel like that's been with
And now
all
you are.
Postie's albums. Like they
Oh,
don't
fucking
hook me straight away. Other than Circles did. Like Myself was a weird one because like that didn't hook me the first few times, but then suddenly it just clicks, and now that is by far my favorite on the album.
You're getting the itch, man. You're all getting the itch, except for Aidan, who's about to rip into it for no reason.
Come on, Aidan, hit us with it.
Go on.
I'm not going to rip into it for no reason.
Good reason.
This is definitely the best Post Malone album. I believe that entirely. Don't make it good though, does it?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No. So when you picked another fucking Post Malone album, it made me sad, like physically painful. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again. And like that being said, in the past albums, I'd gone through all of them, the 3 recommended times. I left it at 3, and I was like, I like about 2 songs on this album. And like is a strong word, as in I'd listen to them again. But that's not actually not the case in this album, because I liked 3.
Wow.
If you think about it, it's still an improvement in my eyes.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I did. It does. I've got it written down here that it felt longer, but you all just disagree with me. With that. It felt just longer than the other ones. I don't know why. I
think it
checked the
was.
timing as well, and the other ones are actually
Oh, are
longer
they?
than this album. Yeah, not by a lot. They're all like 18 songs.
I didn't
long,
even know that.
like 50 minutes long, kind of thing. They're all about that sort of same length. But it felt longer in my eyes because there was still more chod. There was still a lot of chod in this album, and it was the same as before with all the other Post albums. I never knew that the song had changed until a certain point popped up, and like that was Circles every time. I got to Circles, I was like, oh fuck, I'm still listening to Post.
You thought
and
it
the
was still
songs are
Hollywood's
ending.
Bleeding.
I thought it was still Hollywood's Bleeding because it never changed for me, but whatever. I don't know. Which brings me to my worst song, which was Wow. And that's just a fucking generic beat with boring vocals. And the whole lot is just like last week we spoke about having a great end to an album
Yeah.
and how it felt right. This is the complete polar opposite. It's just boring. There's nothing to it. He's just sat there droning on. And it's just like, well, fucking, what is this? It made me, like, although I didn't enjoy the album anyway, it didn't exactly fill me, like, with any, like, oh, I wish I'd gone back and listened to it. Like, a final song should be a good outro, and it just isn't. It's just shit.
Yeah, I do agree with
Wow
that.
was shit.
Like, as in, it's a weak finish.
And then I couldn't really find a third favorite because they were all just meh to me at that
I
point.
thought you said you liked 3.
So well, yeah, but this is my other meh.
Oh.
So this is, like is a strong word, isn't it? It's like, I like children, but they're useless, aren't they? They're just dead.
Dead to me.
You know what I mean?
They're just dead.
They're just dead, aren't they?
Interesting sentence.
When you have a kid, just be like,
Clip
bring it to me when it's 4 and actually does something.
It's like Asian parents. Are you a doctor yet? No? Well, fuck you.
Get back to school.
Go back in. Third favorite was Staring at the Sun. that what that's called? I wrote
It is.
starting by accident. Yeah, I mean, the good singer is a pretty good contrast to Post, and I have to admit that they harmonize pretty well. But as for the song itself, it's just generic, like all the others, to be fair. There are two standout songs, and that's my second favorite, Sunflower.
Woo.
And that's my second favorite because the chorus is pretty catchy. And that's pretty much it.
I thought you hated
be
that
fair.
song.
No, I don't hate it. I mean, I didn't really get much of a choice in this album.
I think my problem with
To be
Sunflower
fair.
is I actually prefer Harry Styles' Sunflower to this, or Rex Orange County's Sunflower.
Oh my god.
Like, I think of
Oh,
the
what?
Sunflowers, it's the weakest.
Hang on, are
What?
these different songs called Sunflower?
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, second favorite because it's got a good chorus. I do actually struggle to say anything about Post songs because he never pushes the boat out. Like, all his songs are always the same sort of thing, and like it rarely has any technical skill.
I do.
And all the melodies, although they're within his vocal range, he never actually tries.
I know what you
kind
mean.
of thing.
You're a fan of like a strong vocal thing, and
I
that isn't
love a
really Post
strong
Malone's
vocal.
thing.
Yeah, but like I feel like this album, he like used his vocal range the most. out of
Yeah,
all
but
of them.
even
Definitely.
then, it's just such a restricted range in comparison to actual good singers.
I disagree.
Well, that's
I
fine.
don't understand how you
cares
can
what
disagree
think.
because I like Post Malone, but I can completely understand what Aidan's saying. Like, it's him himself as a singer. You couldn't start belting out like a Panic at the Disco song.
I'd love to hear him try and do Bohemian
But it's a
Rhapsody.
completely different
Oh
style
yes,
of
Style.
definitely.
singing.
But Aidan prefers that kind of thing, and hence why it's a criticism he has with it.
But you can't say like
Yeah,
well,
but
you
then-
can't.
Yeah, but
to say that it's not as much effort in is
No,
like
it's not.
you can't. Nah,
Yeah, okay.
man.
Can't say that because it's my
Because-
opinion.
Yeah, but my point is like
Okay.
you can like fully agree with that, but like you've
Mhm.
said how it's all kind of generic and stuff, but
Which it
like
is.
I don't think there's anyone who does like what Post kind of does with his stuff. Like I don't
What-
see
what are you
any
talking-
other artist that does
I've-
like
I've
mixes
heard
all
the
these
drum
kind of
beat.
things together.
I've heard the drum beat in all of his songs in every other fucking like TikTok video out there with a halftime shit and the random cymbal that goes like that's in like every fucking song.
That's only in the R&B songs.
Yes, but that's just in all of them. Literally
No, it
all of them. He
isn't.
never pushes the boat out to do anything different with his music. It's
Take
all
what
just
you want.
the
It's
same
literally
chart.
got
Yes, and
loads
it's
of different
trash.
shit in it.
It's literally
Oh
so
my
weird.
God, I'm
It's
not
not even a
arguing.
good song. And Ozzy, like Denver said, it sounds like he's on the ropes. Not having a good time.
Ozzy always sounds like that.
Yeah, it's just because, he was coked up to the eyeballs and bit the head off bats. It's whatever. Yeah, I feel like the only thing that really saved this album is the featured artists that he had. And they had just enough variety that you aren't bored to tears by all of them. Because if it was just an album of just Post, I would just not care at all. Like, the featured artists really make it. It's kind of like Zed. Although, actually, hearing how Zed sings, I could probably listen to an album of Zed, but I couldn't listen to an album of Post.
Zed doesn't sing.
Well, he did sing in that last one, didn't he?
No.
So you're saying you couldn't
On
listen
the
to
Clarity album, there was a couple of songs where you guys were just like, "This is him," and I thought, it was
No,
like,
that was
That was
Marshmallow.
Marshmallow. Yeah.
that one. That's what I meant. They're all the same.
So you're
DJ
saying you
killed
wouldn't
Will's
listen
family.
to this album all the way through in your own time, Aidan?
I resented doing it the 3 times for album review now.
That bad?
No, not that bad. I just don't like it.
Fair enough.
All the songs are mediocre at best, and the ones that I do like are fine. That's it.
You a bitch.
Noted.
Oh, here's the thing: is
Oh,
I feel like the way
Come
you
on.
rate music, Aidan. I'm not
Fire
saying
more shots.
I'm not saying there's a problem with it.
I'm waiting for the hypocrisy.
I'm just it's different how like me and you anyway compare like because I feel like you rate music based on like the skill of the artist
Absolutely not.
and how good they are. Well, you
I like how it sounds.
no.
These are just
thing is-
points I'm bringing up.
No, that's
to
what I'm
validate
saying. But
my
you're saying he
argument.
doesn't sound like he makes an effort because he doesn't have a big vocal range. But actually, he's just singing in the style that he's comfortable with, and it sounds good like that.
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't like how he sounds.
But Aidan doesn't think it sounds good.
So your
Yeah.
entire point was what?
That I feel like you.
I'm not the one sat here rating albums on their production value.
If it's not someone like absolutely
Good.
the
Yeah, but this is where all like the perspective thing comes in, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's all Aidan like stuff where the singers,
singers
are profoundly
powerful.
very good. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
whereas
I like them to be able to carry it, whereas Post Malone doesn't really carry anything.
Whereas I'm more about the
Other than-
backing, almost beat to it, and the vocals can be somewhat worse, as we was proven with Mayday Parade. How I actively preferred the songs with the weaker singer in it. Like I could still identify it as a weaker singer, but for some reason that just sounded
It
better.
gave
to
you
me.
a contrast.
Yeah.
Almost.
I think for me it's just like how it all mixes as a whole.
How
Yeah,
shit
I-
it sounds.
I've got
Yeah.
to say, how it all
Exactly.
is together and what they kind of put into it and just different styles and stuff. I think.
Sorry,
I don't
Will,
know.
you're not allowed to talk about what they put into it. You're allowed to only look at it as a whole.
Oh yeah, I am, but like with it all in parts as well. Like I'll always
Yeah.
know if there's like an awesome.
So why am I
Particularly
being
good, even if
penalised
it's-
for saying my opinion?
I think we should do ratings now.
Because you're
Hang on,
like,
I've not even
getting
said that my
personal.
favourite circles yet.
Have you not?
My favourite
hasn't, no.
Oh
circles.
shit! I already wrote it in, just assuming it was.
I mean, of course it's circles. Yeah.
You
I
like
mean,
that song though, don't you?
I'm pretty sure I just have Stockholm syndrome from hearing it 3 times a day, every day from when it came out.
Thanks, Links
Because
FM.
the
you
radio
definitely like
sucked
it.
its soul out.
To be fair, I think
Definitely
that's
like
also
it,
why I lowered it. I just heard it so many times.
And maybe I think the reason they played it so much though is it's one of his only songs without him talking about drugs or drinking or like not explicit.
Yeah, there's
kind of
only
thing.
like 4 non-explicit songs. It's Hollywood's Bleeding, Circles, Take What You Want, and Sunflower.
And then maybe I liked it because there's an acoustic guitar at the start. Love a bit of that. Or am I wrong for that as well?
I'm not saying
I
you're
hate
wrong. It's when
acoustic
you get
guitar,
all personal
so you're
and
wrong.
say there's no effort, man. I can't go with that.
I didn't say he didn't put no effort in. I put he never tries too hard.
So
Oh, there we go. There's a
Oh.
fire alarm.
There's the alarm. It's the
That's the rating time alarm.
That's the wrong alarm.
Ah, come on now. You can't just change it mid sentence.
Ratings.
Let's give some ratings, lads.
Yeah.
So I gave this album a 9.5.
I give this album an 8.
I also gave this album an 8.
I gave it a 4.
Oh.
That's not that low. That's not as
Well,
low
that's
as I
what I
thought
said.
you
It's
would.
better than the other ones, and I think I rated the other one 3.5.
It's a 29.5.
Oh no!
I didn't deserve to be a 30. It didn't.
You should have given it a 10, Will.
Oh no!
It's not a 10 for me purely because of that one song. I think if that was better,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm Gonna Be was a bit better as well, because I didn't. That's not.
Yeah,
That's probably a weaker one as well. I'd say those 2 songs changed, or just not in the album at all, would have been. It definitely would have got a 10 from me. I fucking love it. It's definitely. I'd probably say it's my favorite Post Malone album, even though I've rated every Post Malone album like a 9.5. I think.
yeah, you have.
I couldn't quite rate it a 10, if you know what I mean.
You should have just rated the others
'Cause it's
lower.
not Nah, because I think they're all.
Do you think
just
they're all
as-
like a few songs
really
off
good.
being amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly a few songs off being the same.
But across the board, we all
That's why-
gave, other than Will, we all did give it better.
Yeah. See, I wasn't
That's
lying.
progress in my eyes. Progress. in my
I did
eyes.
say that this album was better than the other
Yeah,
one.
and it was really. It was good. It was a good album.
Well, good is
Well,
subjective.
good is subjective. You're right.
It is. So, Aidan,
Mm.
what's your next pick, man?
Are you excited? I'm excited because we're going all the way back to the start of album review.
Mendez.
Ooh.
Whoa.
What's that you hear? It's Shawn
Oh.
Mendes. No, it's
Oh
not.
fuck!
my
I thought it was
God.
Mendez.
It's not going to be Shawn Mendes.
The
No.
team.
Oh,
The T.
Even well, probably not even better, but better in my eyes.
I can guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. I'm pretty sure I said it to you.
Did you?
We're doing Fall Out Boy Save Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I thought it was. Nice one.
it's not necessarily the best Fall Out Boy album, but it's probably the one that I remember the most. Like, and I really, really
Good memories.
enjoy it.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a lot of good times, and this is actually the one that we saw live. So
This when they came back from their hiatus,
it was a long fucking hiatus.
but it was a good comeback.
Mm.
Shame
I'm
it's gone to
excited.
shit now.
Well, I'm hoping it's a redemption story and maybe get Denver to like them.
I like the first one though.
Well, I'm getting used to like their proper stuff.
Their proper stuff.
Their real music that's not ripped up.
Having said that though, I don't ever listen back to that. But that was in the early days, wasn't it? Where
Exactly.
getting ratings was difficult because we didn't really get a feel for it yet.
But now we got the biggest feels.
Closing thoughts, Joe. Thanks, Joe.